Have you ever taken a train and thought, wow, this station is huge? Then forget everything you know about railway stations. While you're watching this video, thousands of people are moving through a structure so gigantic that it defies traditional construction logic. This station in China covers 1.22 million square meters. But what truly impresses is not just its size. It wasn't built as a monument to excess, but to solve a problem that once seemed impossible. The story behind this project reveals far more than extreme engineering. It points to how the great cities of the future will need to rethink mobility, human flow, and urban integration on a scale never seen before. Chongqing is not an ordinary city. To begin with, its metropolitan region has more than 32 million people, more than the entire population of Australia. Now imagine building all of this on top of mountains. Chongqing sits where two major rivers meet, the Yangtze and the Jieling, surrounded by mountain ranges on all sides. The result is a city full of steep climbs, sharp descents, deep valleys, and massive bridges. It's no coincidence that it earned two curious nicknames, Mountain City and 8D City, because getting around there feels like being inside a multi-dimensional video game. Streets rise and fall at extreme angles. Bridges connect neighborhoods separated by true chasms. And yes, there is a metro line that passes through a residential building. This is the famous Elizabeth Station. It wasn't a design mistake. It was the only possible solution. In Chongqing, the ground floor of a building can be on the first, fifth, or even the 10th floor, depending on where you enter. There are intersections with 5 levels and more than 15 ramps, so confusing that even GPS systems get lost. Locals joke, if you miss the exit, you end up on an accidental sightseeing tour. For decades, this geography slowed Chongqing's growth. While other Chinese cities rapidly connected through high-speed rail, Chongqing lagged behind. Rail lines had to wind around mountains and cross deep valleys, making travel slower and unpredictable. The city's main hub, Chongqing North Railway Station, quickly became too small. During holidays, the situation turned chaotic. Too many people, too little space. Expanding the old stations was not a simple solution. The mountainous terrain made any construction extremely expensive and complex. At the same time, the Chinese government had massive plans to create the Chengdu-Chongqing economic circle, turning the region into the driving force of Western China. To build the national high-speed rail network known as the 8 verticals and 8 horizontals, connecting the entire country, Chongqing sat right at the center of these routes. On paper, it was perfect. In reality, without a gigantic and modern station, the city couldn't take advantage of its strategic position. In 2019, a radical decision was made. No expansion, no renovation. Start from scratch. A completely new station would rise on the eastern side of the city, large enough to handle future passenger volumes. Designed not just to serve trains, but to anchor an entirely new urban district. But there was a problem. Building something of this magnitude in Chongqing wouldn't just be difficult, it would seem impossible. How do you build the equivalent of a small city on mountainous terrain, with summers exceeding 40 degrees Celsius and finish it in just 38 months? Construction officially began in November 2018. The completion target, June 2025. Less than 3.5 years to build the largest high-speed railway station in the world. The station would have 8 levels, some above ground, others underground. On the upper floors, 15 platforms and 29 tracks for high-speed and conventional trains. Below, entire floors dedicated to metro lines, bus terminals, parking garages, and commercial areas. Peak capacity, 16,000 passengers per hour. Hundreds of thousands in a single day. The architecture alone was already ambitious. A wave-shaped roof covering 120,000 square meters, weighing more than 16,500 tons. It is supported by giant tree-shaped columns inspired by Chongqing's symbolic tree, the Huangjue. These branching structures bring in natural light through skylights embedded in the canopy, reducing the need for artificial lighting. But the real secret to completing this monumental project wasn't under construction helmets. Or rather, it wasn't human. To meet the deadline, the project relied heavily on automation. And we're not talking about a few auxiliary machines, we're talking about a true robotic revolution. Laser-guided excavators leveled the ground with millimeter precision. Concrete leveling robots worked tirelessly under Chongqing's extreme heat, where temperatures reached 45 degrees Celsius in the summer of 2022. Glass installation robots lifted 800-kilogram panels and placed them with absolute accuracy. AI-powered security patrol robots roamed the site, checking for hazards. The results? Work efficiency tripled compared to traditional methods. Labor costs were reduced by nearly half. Heat-related accidents were minimized, and safety incidents dropped by 90%. Huang, one of the engineers, summed it up. This is how technology serves people, building faster, safer, and smarter, even in the furnace of Chongqing. The station also makes smart use of Chongqing's natural elevation differences. The platforms sit on an elevated deck, with concourses, metro lines, and commercial space built underneath. This bridge-plus-building design creates nearly 400,000 square meters of usable space beneath the tracks. It shortens walking distances for passengers and saves more than 20 hectares of land compared to a conventional layout. It is functional architecture taken to a new level, literally. You might be wondering, why invest so much in a single station? Why not build several smaller stations spread across the city? The answer lies in the concept transforming Chinese urban planning, station-city integration. Chongqing East Railway Station is not just a terminal. It is the anchor of an entirely new urban district. Planners call it the East Station Hub New City, a 3.5 square kilometer development surrounding the terminal. The goal is to create a self-sufficient urban center where people can live, work, shop, and travel without long commutes. This means passengers can transfer between high-speed trains and urban metro lines without ever leaving the building. Add to that a major bus terminal, taxi ranks, long-distance bus bays, and parking garages, and you have a true zero-transfer hub. For Chongqing residents, the impact is deeply personal. A student traveling to Chengdu can now make the trip in about 1 hour instead of 4 or 5. An executive heading to Beijing can leave in the morning and arrive by mid-afternoon. Once all metro connections are operational, someone in the suburbs will be able to take the metro straight to the station and transfer to a high-speed train without stepping outdoors. A blessing in summer heat that regularly exceeds 40 degrees. And while size and speed are the most obvious features, sustainability is built into the station. Chongqing East Railway Station meets China's highest 3-star green building standard. Solar panels cover parts of the roof, generating clean electricity. Skylights reduce the need for artificial lighting during the day. Heating and cooling come from a centralized system serving the entire district, improving energy efficiency. Rainwater is collected and reused. Smart climate controls adjust to occupancy levels, reducing waste. The projected savings are 6.18 million kilowatt-hours of electricity per year, cutting carbon emissions by more than 8,000 tons. And because the station is so well integrated with metro and bus lines, fewer passengers need to arrive by car, reducing congestion and emissions in the surrounding area. As stations grow larger and more deeply integrated into urban life, will they begin to take on the role of city centers themselves? And if so, how will that change the way we think about travel, work, and everyday life? Chongqing has always been a natural laboratory for extreme urbanism. It is known as the world's most vertically complex city, and for good reason. Its more than 32 million residents are spread across gorges, hills, river basins, and tiered skylines. The city's transportation system includes metro lines, mountain monorails, tunnels, bridges, cable cars, and even public escalators, often intersecting at different elevations. Line 2's monorail is an engineering feat that runs between buildings and clings to cliffs. Urban interchanges frequently have 5 levels. Chongqing has more than 40 major bridges, including the famous Kaohsiunmen Bridge, one of the longest arch bridges in the world. It is known as the bridge capital of China. Chongqing East Railway Station is just the latest demonstration that, when it comes to dense and complex urban infrastructure, Chongqing is decades ahead. As global cities struggle with land scarcity, urban density, and climate change, Chongqing offers 3 effective strategies. Maximize the vertical use of space. Integrate transportation infrastructure directly into buildings. Work with natural topography, not against it. It is more than just a mountain city in China. It is a global training ground for multifaceted urban planning. On June 27, 2025, the doors opened, less than 40 months after construction began. The station immediately became a new landmark and tourist attraction. Visitors come not only to travel, but to experience the station itself. Its striking architecture, its layers of functionality, and its mind-bending scale. And as we watch this structure come to life, one thing becomes clear. Chongqing East Railway Station is not just a place where journeys begin and end. It is a destination in its own right, a symbol of how infrastructure can shape cities, of how technology can overcome seemingly impossible challenges, of how vision and execution can transform difficult geography into a strategic advantage. Chongqing solved its impossible problem, and in doing so, it redefined what a train station can be. What is happening in Chongqing is more than construction on a massive scale. It is a fundamental reimagining of how transportation, architecture, and urban life intertwine. Decades from now, when we look back and ask how cities adapted to the challenges of the 21st century, population density, climate change, mobility, Chongqing East Railway Station will be part of that conversation. Not as an anomaly, but as a model. Because the future of cities is not just about growing. It is about integration. It is about innovation. It is about building infrastructure so functional that it becomes indistinguishable from the city itself. And Chongqing has just shown us how to do exactly that. And since you've stayed until the end, you're clearly the kind of person who doesn't settle for superficial answers. You want to understand how things really work. If this video made you see infrastructure in a completely different way, leave a like. It tells me you want more content like this. Insane engineering and urban planning projects that are shaping the future without most people even noticing.